welcome. It's me, Percita, and this is Percita's Paradox. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Tuesday, new week, in the middle of August for the most part. We are back to school, pretty much around the country. I don't know if you're, of course, overseas, then not quite sure, but your schedule. But here in the States, a lot of children have gone back to school, especially here on the West Coast. So happy first day back to school for most of my people who have children in what I would like to call secondary educational programs, right? I have a 7th grader, so I'm pretty excited that he's back and can at least interact. But, still a little nervous with all of this craziness going on. But it's neither here nor there. Just want to first off say thank you so much for my people who are coming onto the channel today for the first time. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and speak to you. As always, thank you to my OGs. You know the deal. Thank you so much. Nothing but love you've been showing, and I greatly appreciate all of that. If you've made it this far, do me the solid of like, sharing, commenting, thumbs up, thumbs down, give me some interaction. Let me know what's going on with you. And if there's something else you want to talk about, also let me know that in the comments. I'm going to start a new series next month. I'm just giving you a prelim statement about it. I want to run some things by a few people who I want to come on board to help me, but I want to give you that little sneak peek conversation of look for some new things to come. Now, outside of that, today I wanted to come on and just actually talk to you, just giving you a posed self-reflective question. And that question is, what is it that keeps you calm? What causes your calm in your life? And so many times when we think of calm, we have an idea of really a stillness, right? And we think about it in a perspective of like vacation or newness or, whatever that is. But I want to dig a little deeper into it. I want to think about it from an aspect of like what actually keeps you calm in just your day to day, when you really know that you have things to handle and life to deal with, and you cannot really take that time to really go off and be by yourself or whatever that is. What is it that you find yourself being able to say or do or meditate or whatever it is in the moment to keep you calm? And I want to talk about it because so many times I find myself really snapping into this really fast idea of anxiety. Like I really don't know per se how I can go from everything is cool to just almost like a frantic anxiety attack. We don't talk a lot about how we actually keep calm in it. Prospectively thinking, as a self-employed individual, and I've been that way for close to 22 years at this point, it's always interesting to me how it's glamorized on how great self-employment is, right? I mean, we talk about the flexibility, we talk about, and what I mean by flexibility is just the idea that you can kind of set your own hours. And, of course, if you want to give yourself a raise, you can obviously do that. And if you didn't know that, those are some of the aspects of what makes self-employment kind of cool. And just the idea of that you're really running yourself, right? You're really in charge of whatever it is that you're trying to do in life. Typically, we're talking about it from an economical standpoint because that's what really drives the world. I mean, we understand that money is the tool that gives us the options. Now, I'm not about loving money. I'm all about loving God, but that's something completely different. But I'll just simply say that even in regards to why I became self-employed, it was not really driven from any other premise of then me thinking that I'd have more room and time to raise my children at the time, who are now 22 and 20. But it was just really more of the flexibility of what that would be. By the grace of God, has the finances actually met up with a lot of what I've done and a lot of what my expertise is. But I digress and say all of that to say, when we think of self-employment, or if we hear the word entrepreneur, we typically think of that only. But I want to normalize just the idea of the trauma of what self-employment is and the backlash of what that is, and how, there are some aspects about it that you just can't really reveal to people who don't have a clue. And I say that not because I don't think that people are sympathetic, but I also feel as if because there can be a slight resentment or jealousy about it, it doesn't really a lot of room for the self-employed person to actually have a conversation and talk about, the uncalm spaces of it, right? So I just thought about that, and I was thinking to myself, what exactly is it that I know from myself and other friends and colleagues who are also self-employed, what we do in regards to how to stay calm and how to actually make it through the day. So I just wanted to give you, an idea of what that actually looks like, because I get asked that a lot. What is it? How did I start? What made me start? How have I sustained? And, it's an interesting dynamic. But, in saying all of that, today the focus is the calm. And what I would say, the first and foremost idea of calm is really just allowing yourself to fail. And what I mean by that is that I know that if I'm failing, I'm actually moving. I'm not in a place of fear or stagnation or contemplation. I'm actually moving forward. And I don't find myself then scared, because typically the things that I am feeling, I've already overcame on some level or another. I always try to tell everyone that I'm speaking to that typically the things that you fear, you've actually already done in some capacity, because I'm still a true believer on things that come your way, you're already equipped. Very seldomly, if not never, would I say that a person is dealt a deal of cards or a deal in life, however you want to look at it, that they can't really actually play the hand of. And what I mean by that is that I just believe that you are equipped to handle anything that comes your way, period. So when I think of that, that's the first thing that stops me from losing my mind, right? And that creates a sense of calmness. Secondly, I ask myself, is this a destination goal? Am I waiting on this goal to be completed in order for me to feel a certain way about something, someone, or someplace? So I like to call it the noun destination. And with that being said, it just allows me to retract my thought of anxiety at that moment to try to create something that would be positive within it. That would still tell me that I need to really think about what it is that I'm really feeling the moment about. Again, about the now. Is it because I'm trying to get someplace? Is it because I'm trying to acquire something? What is it? Once I think of that, the next step is, can I control it? If I cannot control the outcome beyond what my efforts have already been, then I typically find myself being in more of a calm place. And that calm doesn't mean that I'm okay, but it does mean that I completely understand that it's not about clarity of what the outcome is going to be. It's simply about movement. It's simply about doing what I can do and moving forward. It causes a sense of relief that then gives me a calm in this world of self-employment, because it allows you to be in a space where you find yourself really comprehending time and how time can and cannot really affect you. Meaning, we can't really dictate what's going to happen and how it's going to happen, but we can really dictate how we move in that time space or in that moment. So I like to think of it that way, to say, these are the things that I know that I can do, and this has to keep me calm. Lastly, just being in that perspective, it just becomes a gratitude place of saying, what have I accomplished thus far? What am I trying to accomplish that I've accomplished thus far? And how do I see my future? And will this make or break my future? Once I've really thought about those things, and typically across the board, it doesn't. It really has no play on what's really going to happen, because I, again, reflect back on, if it's supposed to be with me, then it'll be with me. If it's an opportunity that is mine, then there's absolutely nothing and no one who can take it from me. If I comprehend that on every level, on every step, it makes it very difficult to not then remain in a calm state. Here's the irony. Trying to actually allocate all of those things for every individual moment instead of going directly to a panic. Because panic is so much easier. I mean, my God, it's like a downhill slope of some sense of gratification, because it's just the woe is me. if you find yourself continuously saying things like, why is this happening to me? Or I've gotten so far. You really want to contemplate the idea that life is really not about everything going your way and everything being exactly the way you dreamt. It really is simply about just being in a perspective of moving as best you can through everything you can. And for me, it becomes that. It's just the last thing of the moment of, it's just mine. Whatever it is that you're trying to pray it through or speak it through or manifest it through or whatever it is, if you really believe that, it really is yours. So regardless of what you would think it would need to be or how it would play out, or if it's, a moment in time, or if this is something that'll last or perpetuate a long time, I realize that's all developed in your mind. And your mind is key. That mindset about what you're thinking about and how you're thinking about it when you're going through stuff is key. So you really want to be in a space where you really understand that part of just what it is. And I use self-employment because it's just something that if you're not self-employed, you really do have a different connotation about what it is. And for me, I can find myself all the time, getting a little jealous about just the aspect of like a person who has a 9-to-5. I mean, you have a vacation. You have a vacation that's allotted to you. You're getting paid typically through that vacation. If you have a career-based job and you are literally making a salary, if you put in good work or bad work, it's just what it is. You really don't have what I like to call work to hand or hand to work type scenarios, meaning if I don't work, I don't get paid. When I take vacations, that is not money that I am making. That is money that I have lost, and there is nothing that's recouping. It has to then be all on me. So it's a different energy. It's a different energy to be in a space of having sick time and things like that, again, where the finances are allocated. And typically because we're really talking about the freedom, again, with the money aspect of work across the board, and we all work because we want to be self-sufficient and we want to actually be able to acquire things and take vacations and all that other good stuff, then you understand why I say what it is. Now, I want you to think about if you are a self-employed person and thinking about it from the way that I'm thinking about it. But if you're not a self-employed person, you what I would call a 9-to-5er, I want you to think about what is the calm. In the end of all of your thoughts of feeling anxiety or worried about something or what it is, what do you do? For me, it starts and ends in the mind. So it's not about if I'm literally gone. It's not about if I'm on vacation or if I'm able to stop and really quote unquote meditate. It's just a thought sometimes for me. It's just a moment that I stop and think. And in that thought, I can then change the trajectory of where my emotions come and go. And I just want that superpower that I feel like I have to be passed on to you all. So I want to ask you again, what keeps you calm? What brings you to calm? What assists you in being calm? Hit me in the comments. I really want to hear what you have to say about that. And just literally let me know what it is your vibe is. That's really it. I mean, because again, with so many things going on and so many aspects and everyone thinking that they know something more, maybe it's time for the dialogue between the self-employed and the person who's working, the person who's longing to be self-employed for the freedom and the backlash of what self-employment can be to the person like myself. We love it. Don't get me wrong, because that's what we do. But in the exact same breath, there is always going to be that slight envy that it's all perpetuated on us. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure to be the person who is literally doing all of the work. And people say, oh my God, Percita, you have a husband. I get it. And I'm thankful for that. And don't get me wrong. It has nothing to do with what I'm talking about in the aspect of personal wealth, personal goals, personal aspirations, right? So I just want to run that by you today and tell you, let's talk about it. Let's actually talk about it. So, as always, I want to leave you with my famous 3 words, which is live life authentic. Always be in a position of understanding that regardless of what's happening in the world, what's happening in your relationships, what's happening in your mind, take it back, own it, possess it, live it to the fullest authentically. So live life authentic. As always, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification button so that you know when I am up and running. Of course, Tuesdays and Thursdays are my typical days. And again, I'm looking into doing some cool new things and adding some aspects to this channel. So when you start to see the newness, don't be alarmed. Still the same channel, just doing some new stuff. So thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate you. And as always, I will see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.